Benjamin M. Tabago Jr. from Bachelor of Technology and Livelihood Education, one of the reporter of Group 3. And please do allow me to introduce to you my other groupmates. We have Leia and Domingo, Miss Carhil Baniken, Miss Christine Lustre, Miss Pamela Chansay, Miss Laika Ventilo, Miss Marilyn Tarias,
ng isa sa pinakamasarap na isda sa Pilipinas, ang catfish o mas kilala sa tawag nating Hito. Halina at samahan mo kaming dumiskupri at tumuklas sa natatanging kwento ng Hito mula sa pag-aalaga, pagpapalaki hanggang sa produksyon nito. Narito ang mga kwentong Hitong ating tatalakayin sa araw na ito. Kwentong Amazing Hito number 1. Ano nga ba ang Hito at saan nga ba nagmula ito? Kwentong Amazing Hito number 2. Paano nga ba ang tamang pagpapalaki o pag-breed ng Hito? Kwentong Amazing Hito number 3. Ang mga pamamaraan sa tamang pagpaparami at produksyon ng Hito. At sa kwentong Amazing number 4, ang dami ng produksyon ng Hito ayon sa Philippine Statistics Authority.
My name is Benjamin M. Tabago Jr. and today I will discuss you the scientific name of catfish, the uses and importance of catfish, the nutrition of catfish, and of course the history of catfish. So let's move to the history and scientific name of catfish. Did you know that the scientific name of catfish or sa Tagalog is Hito ay Siluriformes? According to Bruton 1996, that most catfish have cylindrical body with flattened ventral for benthic feeding. Catfish are so named because of their whisker-like barbels, which are located on the nose, each side of the mouth and the chin. Most catfish possesses leading spines in their dorsal and pectoral fins. Catfish is chylous, a characteristic of catfishes, distinguishing them from most other teleost fish. However, some catfish, such as plecos, process bony dermal plates covering their skin. The supply and demand of catfish remains high, the only components of its production trending down this year in Mississippi are found anchorage and the fries of feed. So in the uses and importance of catfish naman, catfish is low in calories and fat with lean protein fats, vitamin and mineral. It's particularly rich in heart, healthy omega-3 fats, and vitamin B12. It can be a healthy addition to any meal, though deep frying adds for more calories and fat than dry heat cooking method like baking or broiling. Catfish are an important group because they serve many different roles, including as an ornamental, ash food fish, and aquaculture. As research, animal and for sport fishing, most catfish are found in the fresh water. Although there are two families that contain saltwater species. So let's move to the nutrition of catfish. Most of the evidences suggest that the basic nutritional requirements during the growth of prey range from 40 to 43% for protein, 10 to 12% for dietary lipid, and between 15 and 32% for carbohydrate. Today's catfish producer feeds complete diet that has all the necessarily nutrients at the right level in the energy the fish needs in water, stable, readily digestive from produce surplus. Feed this kind of the diet because the nutrition catfish needs are not available naturally. Nakaragdagan pa, ito ang tatlo sa mga uri ng catfish, the native, the Thai, and African catfish. First is the native catfish. Ito ay may maliliit na size na ang vertically body spot ay highly visible at ang toxin ng native catfish ay slightly present. Ito ay 100 to 250 grams. Samantala, ang Thai catfish naman ay maliit din ang size katulad ng native catfish. Ito ay 100 to 250 grams. Subalit ang vertically body naman ito ay slightly present at ang toxin in pectoral ay present. Ang African catfish naman, ito ay malalaking size na umaabot ito ng 500 grams. Ang vertically body nito ay hindi kita at ganun din sa toxin. So let's move to the next reporter and I will pass it to Miss Leia Domingo. Miss Leia?
The problem of society of catfish. When someone is catfish, it can be extremely damaging to their mental health, especially if they are emotionally invested in a friendship or romantic relationship with a catfisher. Victim of catfishing can find it extremely difficult to trust after their experience, affecting relationship both personal and professional, as well as the emotional devastation that someone who has been catfished can potentially go through. They can also face embarrassment and regret for believing and falling for a complete non-existent person. Financial loss and mental illness such as anxiety and depression can all come about because of catfishing. Catfish is one of the most important freshwater food fishes in Southeast Asia. Along with freshwater prawn and tilapia, catfish is a viable animal protein source among people in landlocked areas. In 2006, a total of 2,370 metric tons have been produced in Philippines. SEFDEC Aquaculture Department's work on catfish includes refining technologies and aspects ranging from hatchery and broodstock development up to the growth phase, including the development of feed formulation optimal to catfishing growth and survival. This manual intends to provide necessary information to fish farmers interested in growing catfish. Furthermore, we hope that other stakeholders, including researcher, extension worker, fisheries technologists, and member of academic could find information contained in this manual beneficial in their behaviors. The status of industry of catfisher. Catfish belonging to the families Ictaluridae, Claridae, Pangasinidae, and Siluridae are widely distributed in different parts of the world, and their culture has been a tradition in some parts of Southeast Asia. Catfish are also valued for recreational fishing in southern USA. The recent interest in commercial farming was largely generated by development of a multi-million-dollar catfishing fanning industry southern USA. Since 1990s, considerable research and development have been directed toward catfish farming and the processing and promotion of catfish produced channel fish, the main species farmed in the USA, have been transplanted to a number of countries in southern Europe, Africa, and Central America. But no comparable enterprises have developed in this region. Fanning local species of catfish is a trend of many countries. Farm ponds have great potential to improve agriculture, water security through the capture, storage, and provision of water for irrigation. In all regions, farm ponds can also supply a water and provide a wide range and additional economic and environment of benefits.
What is the way to breed catfish? Female catfish ready to spawn or produce offspring when it builds its own nest of debris or roots of aquatic plants like water hyacinths, kangkong, and filamentous algae. It spawns in shallow water 30 cm to 60 cm deep. Male and female catfish starts courting by chasing each other, darting sideways, and pressing their abdominal regions together. This constant movement is repeated several times until the female releases the eggs and male milk or sperms is simultaneously ejaculated. Fertilization takes place at 27 degrees to 30 degrees Celsius water temperature. These are the different breeds or different varieties of catfish in the Philippines. In the Philippines, there are 3 species of catfish: the native Hito or the Clarias macrocephalus, the Thai Hito, Clarias batrachus, and the African Hito or the Clarias garriapinus. Among the 3 species, only Clarias macrocephalus is indigenous in the Philippines, while Clarias garriapinus originated from Africa and Clarias batrachus came from Thailand. Hatching and nursing catfish. These are the process of hatching catfish. The process of hatchery takes around 24 to 36 hours before the proper management system begins. In hatching catfish, first you need to do is identify the broodstock. What is broodstock? Broodstocks are mature catfish that can be used to hatch catfish. Select the catfish to be used. Make sure the fish selected is mature. Scale the broodstock. You need to weigh the fish to see if they are up to the required size. Prepare the female broodstock for propagation. In this stage, you will inject the female fish with the synthetic hormone. The amount of synthetic hormone you will inject into the fish will depend on the weight of the fish. Separate the catfish. When separating the fish, you have to cover the fish so it doesn't see light at all. If you don't do this, the fish can find her way out of the space you put it. Set up the incubator. The place should be ready at least 14 hours before the previous process. Strip the fish. The first thing after you remove your separated fish from the water is to cover the eyes with one towel. Then another person holds the fish tail with a towel also. Next is bring out milk. When you remove the milk sac, put it in tissue paper and cover it. You can remove the milk sac before or after killing the main fish. Mix the saline solution with the milk. Get the eggs, gently cut the milk sac with a blade, and mix both with the spoon using the saline solution. Spread the eggs on the spooning net. After gently spreading the eggs, cover the pan with thick nylon for at least 24 hours. The first 2 weeks after the hatchery process is very crucial to the survival of your fish. You need to treat the catfish flies carefully. When changing the water, feeding them, siphoning the pond, and even when you need to sort them.
What behavior the catfish has while breeding?
Catfish is not a territorial species unless an intruder makes an attempt to raid its nest during the mating season. Nests are usually made in caves, and the male walking catfish will guard the entrance. A male walking catfish uses quick movements to scare other fish away from its nest and will only attack other fish's fishes as a last line of defense to protect its eggs and fry. The walking catfish has an aggressive reputation based on its consumption of a wide variety of smaller fish and its presence in non-native waters as an invasive species. During the breeding season, which correlates with the rainy seasons, the walking catfish participates in mass migration to newly flooded lowlands.
What are the characteristics of female and male catfish?
Female catfish have a rounded shape in the abdomen so they can carry eggs. A female about to spawn will become very round and will have a reddish tinge to the area around her vent where the eggs will emerge. While male catfish has more pointed dorsal and anal fins, larger and more flowing than in the female. In many species, the male will display egg-shaped marking on the anal fin known as egg spots. Some males have a bump on the head referred to as a nostril hump.
Province known for catfish breeding is in the province of Bulacan. Did you know the province of Bulacan is a large catfish farm can produce 2 tons per week and supply 70% of the Philippine catfish market? And Bulacan is the biggest catfish producing in the province here in North Luzon. And in Pandi, we have 25% farmers cultured catfish and their market reach the province of Ilocos, Isabela, Pangasinan, Tarlac, and Pampanga. How to breed a catfish? The female lays her eggs on the nest because of the flat surface covered of the bubbles that produced by the parents. And the male sprays with sperm to fertilize them. And catfish require a high quality water source, proper oxygen, neutral pH level, and nesting grounds for breeding. Without some human invention, catfish are not likely to breed productively in the average pond. But with a little help, the pond atmosphere can be turned into fertile ground. Step how to breed a catfish. Step 1. Identify and separate the sexes because male and female of the catfish can be easily recognized. The male has a distinct sexual papilla, elongated and located just behind the anus. Step 2. Select and check for a gravid female. A gently press on the belly of the female fish and the genital opening releases the ripe eggs, indicating and readiness and viability of the female. Number 3. Weight the female fish. I guess that 8 to 15% of the weight of a gravid female fish is the weight of the eggs. Step 4. Prepare the female catfish for injection. The fish should be also injected above the lateral line in 45 degrees to body of the fish.
The culture of catfish. The catfish culture is a potential profitable business due to the first hardiness, tolerance to low level of oxygen, resistance to diseases, and ability to allow heavy stocking. How long it takes before farming a catfish? When the fish are about 20 to 25 centimeter long, you can start harvesting partially or completely. If you properly manage, your fish should be ready for the table after 6 months. Or, it also depends on the weight you are targeting for your fish. If they are well fed, they should reach an average of 1 kilogram within the 6 months. The lifespan of catfish is up to 8 to 20 years. It depends on the species because the catfish can live from 8 to 20 years. Almost 3,000 species of catfish have been cataloged throughout the world, but it's though that as many as 4,500 exist. How to know if a catfish is male or female? 1. Look at the size of the adult catfish. Male catfish are smaller and narrower than female catfish, and the female can grow up to 1 inch larger than males. 2. Notice the catfish body because female catfish are wider than male by 1.5 inches in the belly area, and the female catfish is also rounded than the male catfish. 3. Analyze the size of the head of the adult catfish. The head of the male catfish will be larger and wider than the female catfish. The male catfish head can be up to 1 inch larger. Number 4. Male catfish will have longer fins than males because males will also have the brighter colored fins.
Stacking of fingerlings. Prior to obtaining a fish, you should determine the quantity and the size of the fish you wish to stack. Stacking rates are vary widely depending on the species of fish and management objectives. Fish, which are properly handled and stacked, should remain active, swim of quickly in So ito yung mga nire-recommenda na palaguin ang mga fingerling stock sa loob lamang ng 3 hanggang 4 na buwan sa panahon ng fingerling phase. So ito yung mga catfish na kasing daliri lamang ang size ay maaaring i-stock sa pagitan ng 20,000 hanggang 100,000 ng mga isda. Depende sa kapasidad ng sakahan, sa disenyo at mga schedule ng dalughasan ng mga tauhan. To be successful in fish farming, proper knowledge of stocking formula is necessary. So let's talk about the water management in farming. When we are talking about the water management, you should have thought about growing of fish or catfish and the oxygen level of the pond or water tank where you can place the fish. So the effective water management in catfish farming is draining and filling of water. Changing the water in the tank helps to reduce the nitrogen and other compounds that are harmful in the tank. Draining and refilling of water helps to reduce the fish will fish grow well and live. So ang water management ay isang process at pag-refilling. So kapag i-drain natin yung tubig na catfish, ibig sabihin ito ay maruna. Kaya nire-refill natin ito ng malinis na tubig para mas maging maayos ang kanilang kinalalagyan at maging healthy ang kanilang paglaki. How to feed catfish? Most catfish producers feed once a day, so 7 days in a 1 week during the warmer months. Research has shown feeding twice a day to improve growth of fingerlings, but there is no benefit by feeding twice a day for food fish to grow up. Feed is typically blown onto the surface of the water using mechanical feeders. Fingerlings are fed between 2 to 5% of their body weight per day, divided into 2 or more feedings, while broadfish are fed 1 to 2% of their body weight per day. However, most catfish farmers feed their fish once daily to satiation 7 days a week during the warmer months.
Flathead catfish are quick growing. Usually, it weighs around 10 to 15 pounds when it is young. However, adult can reach 3 to 4 feet in length and weighs over 100 pounds. Well, in another day, becoming a record. Flathead catfish put on 2 to 5 pounds a year between 3 to 8 years old. A 6 to 8 inch catfish can be grown to 1 pound in 6 months of regular feeding. During the warm weather, Ruiz, it took 2 to 3 years to achieve the same size in a non-fed situation. Feeding also is economical when one looks at the table value of catfish rather than the cost of feed. The male and female catfish mates by swimming together and releasing sperms and eggs at the same time in a nest built by the female or both the male and the female. After the mating occurred, the male catfish chases away the female catfish and guards the eggs until they hatch. Channel catfish spawn in summer, flathead catfish spawn in June and July, and the eggs are laid in a nest neither with natural capacity or constructed near a submerged depression. The parent fish hatches the eggs continuously to provide oxygen and keeps the seals of the eggs. Simple management strategies such as infecting the hatchery before the hatchery season, having a separate nets and equipment for each hatching troop, disinfecting hands and disinfecting eggs masses before bringing them into the hatchery, and using a pathogen-free water supply that helps to prevent the introduction of infections. Monitoring catfish ponds for water quality and sign of fish distress is very important. A trained and experienced individual should conduct a monitoring program. A collection of salt water values is very important on a daily basis and for a several times a day.
Let us now discuss the production of catfish according to Fisheries Statistics of the Philippines. The volume production of catfish last 2016 to 2018 can be seen in the figure. Catfish production fell 5.26% to 2.60 thousand metric tons. The inland fishing sector accounted for 69.24% of total output, while the aquaculture sector accounted for 30.76%. Let us now discuss the value and volume of catfish in the Philippines from 2018 to 2020. The total amount of catfish produced in aquaculture broken down by region and province. In 2018, 4,397.78 metric tons were produced. In 2019, 4,874.38 metric tons, and in 2020, 5,420.77 metric tons were produced. Aquaculture catfish production value by region and province. There were 479,193.17 in the year 2018. In year 2019, there were 524,666.80, and in the year 2020, 576,672.91 are in there. Let us now move on to the volume and value of Hito in inland municipal fisheries production. In 2018, the volume of Hito's inland municipal fisheries production was 5,814.51 metric tons. In 2019, it was 5,167.83 metric tons. And in 2020, it was 4,480.68 metric tons. The value of Hito in inland municipal fisheries production in 2018 was 519,326.16. In 2019, there were 456,666.46, and in 2020, there were 422,715.68.